And now joining us in studio is SACP National Spokesperson Alex Mashilo. A very good morning to you and thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much and good morning to you too.
And now, what is your reaction on the rejection of an early election conference coming from the ANC branches?
In the first place, I must correct your report. The SACP never called for an early election conference of the African National Congress. We never did. No. What we called for was the ANC to consider convening a consultative conference in the form of a special conference in terms of the ANC constitution with the stated purpose of consulting the ANC's wider support base, members, alliance partners and formations of the mass democratic movement on the need to turn the tide against the declining hard-won democratic hegemony of the African National Congress. And when we did so, we made it very clear that the ANC reserved the right to take a final decision on the matter, but we never called for an early conference as the SACP.
And now, as the SACP, has the organization been addressing the issues faced by the SAPC instead of looking at some of the challenges of the ANC?
When we look at a number of statements issued by the African National Congress, they do point out and clearly state what the problems are. What we need, and we welcome that, by the way, what we need is action to resolve the problems. Some of the problems identified by the ANC were, by the way, not only identified by the ANC, but by the rest of the alliance partners. If you go through the declaration of the alliance of mid-2015, we did make it very clear, all of us, the ANC, COSATU, SACP, SANCO, that we had a problem of corporate capture within the movement and that social distance from the mass base, corruption, patronage, manipulation of membership records, buying and selling of votes, and all those factional maneuvers destroy the movement. We did make a commitment that each one of the alliance partners must address these issues. I can tell you that within the SACP, we have taken progressive measures to ensure that we give no space to such politics. We are looking forward to the ANC and other alliance partners, ensuring that we move beyond the statements that we see, which we welcome, into action in resolving the problems.
And now, how far would you say the ANC and the SACP is in terms of resolving some of the challenges that are faced within the SACP alliance?
These are continuously occurring challenges. There will be times where we hold different political opinions on the way forward. There will be times when we agree, such as we now agree on what must happen, for instance, at the SABC. What we need is constant engagements between the ANC, the SACP, and all other alliance partners. And out of those engagements, what we need is implementation. I can tell you that in September 2013, we took a decision that the National Development Plan must be reviewed. COSATU and the SACP expressed reservations about the economic and labor market content of the National Development Plan. 3 years later, no such review has taken place. It is very important that the unity of the alliance is programmatic and is based on principles. And one of the most important principles is to implement what we agree on.
And now, as the SACP, what is your take on the current varsity protests hitting the country? What will the SACP doing to assist as well?
Again, we share common perspectives with the African National Congress on the current varsity protests. We believe that the announcement made by the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Blake Nzimande, on behalf of government was an important announcement. In terms of that announcement, all students qualifying for the National Student Financial Aid Scheme will not pay for fees and they will not pay for an increase. The state will pay for them. But something new happened during that announcement, the introduction of accommodating the so-called missing middle, which in our terminology in the SACP we refer to as lower sections of the middle class. Families with an income of up to 600,000 will not pay for any fee increases. It is our view that that announcement was historic and important and has to be welcome. Secondly, We are of a very strong view that no one must be allowed to propagate their demands by violating on the rights of other people. We all have our constitutional rights as enshrined in the law. We have the right to protest, we have got political rights, isn't it? But we cannot make use of our rights to violate the rights of other people. For example, the death that occurred at the University of the Witwatersrand of a worker because some individuals found their way in the protesting student and released a fire extinguisher, leading to that worker dying in hospital, is completely unwelcome. The right to life is fundamental, and no one should be allowed to pursue their demands by means of killing other people, destroying public property, violating other. In a democratic society, what we must do is that if we have got demands, we must win the majority to our side by democratic means, not by violating the rights of other people. The SACP is very clear that the private sector is the single largest consumer of the education and training outputs of our country, of all professionals, labor as well as the labor of skilled workers. But its contribution in expanding access to higher education and training is almost meaningless. So that is why on the 14th of October, we will be marching together with COSATU and other progressive forces to the Chamber of Mines, which actually participated in designing colonialism and apartheid in this country, to contribute in expanding access. We are marching to the Chamber of Mines as one of the sections of capital that are accumulating wealth in our country without any regard to the needs of the public. And we believe that that is the entry step. We must expand the campaign to bring the entire sections of capital on board to ensure that we work together in delivering education. For now, we believe that students must go back to class, they must learn. Whoever doesn't want to go to class must not make use of his or her demands to prevent other students from going to class to learn. We are prepared to support students democratically.
All right, thank you so much for that. And that was SACP National Spokesperson Alex Mashilo joining us in studio. Thank you very much, sir.